And we're going to switch gears to the NBA, where Paul George, PG-13, was back in action for the Clippers last night, and he balled out. Paul George looked great. 33 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists on 10 of 17 shooting. Only problem is Clippers didn't win the game. Clippers lose to one of the worst teams in the NBA, the New Orleans Pelicans, a Pelicans team without Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Okafor. They were missing all kinds of guys, and the Clippers lost because Kawhi Leonard chose not to play. Second night of a back-to-back. And, of course, you got the two lamest words in sports right now, load management. So no Kawhi Leonard last night. Paul George had a great game, but he wasn't happy about it. Here's Paul George after the game.
I thought I was terrible. I got a lot to get back to, just from my performance on defense, and just for the flow of the game. And then just, I haven't had any time, just getting a feel for this speed, in a long time. So, it's just good to get this one under my belt. This was essentially like my first preseason game. So, it's a lot to take from this and, take it into the next game.
Wait, did Paul George really just say that he thought he played terrible in a game where he scored 33 points in 24 minutes? PG-13. That's a solid game, okay? You played well last night. I don't know what you think is a bad game. Terrible is when you went 2 for 16 and 0 for 6 from 3 in that Game 6 clincher with the Thunder and the Jazz. That was terrible. Last night, you look like a first-team All-NBA caliber player. You look like a great player last night. By the way, when is Paul George going to change his middle names to John and Ringo? He's got to do it eventually, right? Paul, Ringo, John, George, the Fab Four. I'm telling you, you got to do
John,
it.
and I
But
too
the problem
play
with the
guitar.
Clippers right now
Sometimes I play
is
the fool.
the Kawhi Leonard load management thing. This is not working out. The load management for the Claw is starting to hurt this Clipper team. He's sat out 3 games this year. They've lost all 3 of those games. Last year, the Raptors went 17-5 when Kawhi Leonard sat out to load manage, but they also went 4-5 against teams above 500. So, like I said in the summertime, you can't load manage in the Western Conference because you got teams that are already starting to create some separation. The Los Angeles Lakers, they've taken advantage of a relatively soft schedule to be at 9-2. You got the Rockets at 8-3, the Jazz at 8-3, and this Clipper team, they can ill afford to go on the road in the playoffs for multiple series and expect to be an NBA champion. So they need to find out a way for this team to, I think Kawhi Leonard, look, I think he's still feeling the effects of a postseason where it was historic for how many minutes he played. The grind of last year, it's clear that he's not at 100%. Sometimes the way he's walking out there, the way he favors that knee sometimes. This Clipper team, for them to have success, for them to be a top 3 seed, Paul George is going to have to lead this team. Paul George is going to have to do the bulk of the scoring and put all those minutes in because, look, Kawhi Leonard carried a team to the NBA Finals last year. Kawhi Leonard played more minutes than any player in NBA history in a postseason, and Paul George, he's coming off 2 back-to-back first-round exits. So he should be fresh. He should be able to carry this team. But if you're the Clippers, the encouraging sign last night, how many times Paul George went to the line? He went to the line 10 times last night. He made all of his 3-point shots. 3 threes for Paul George last night. And if you look at it, coming into last night's matchup, the Clippers were bottom 10 in the NBA in both effective field goal percentage and true shooting percentage. So as a team, they were shooting 32.2% from 3, and that puts them at 27th in the NBA. So keep in mind, too, they just lost their best shooter, Landry Shamet. He's going to be out for an extended period of time with a high ankle sprain. So, Paul George, you're going to have to earn your money on this team. You are going to have to step up and be the MVP of the Clippers. For the Clippers, for me, for the Clippers to have success, for them to get a top 4 seed, I think Paul George has to be the MVP of this team. You could say Kawhi Leonard's a better player, but Paul George has to be the MVP for the Clippers for them to have success this year.